It is 6 o'clock. I call this meeting to order. The Board of Adjustments meeting is now in session.
Good afternoon. Item number 2, establishment of quorum. Miriam Cruz,
Present.
Jesus Ruiz,
Present.
David Oropesa,
Present.
Ben Arras, absent. Jesus Miguel Chaires, absent. Albert Lagunas.
Present.
We have a quorum with four members present. Item number 3, excuse absence commissioners' members. Do I have a motion?
Motion to proceed.
I think there was one person who called and one person that didn't. Could you explain that on who it was?
Yes, we had a call from Mr. Ben Arras excusing his absence due to not being able to make it in time, but we have not received a call from Mr. Jesus Miguel Chaires.
Had he said that he was coming, or?
Mr. Chaires, no, we have not received no call.
Have we, can you just remind me, did we excuse everybody last time? Or did we not excuse them?
We did not.
Okay. I know for council, you can be, like, if you have certain unexcused absences, do we have same for the Board of Adjustments? If we keep on unexcusing folks, do they get removed, or how would that work?
We have 2 consecutive absences from Mr. Chaires, the last 2
Okay,
We
meetings,
could
So this will be the
excuse
third?
one and,
not excuse.
okay.
This will be the 3rd one.
there's no reason we can't excuse one and, because he called in, and not excuse the other because he didn't. Not thought. I'll make, well,
We have a
you-
motion.
Yeah, I guess.
I'll second it.
What was the
Okay.
motion?
Motion to excuse?
I have a motion made by Mr. David Oropesa to excuse, and second by Mr. Jesus Ruiz. All those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Any nays?
Yes, no. No
Eh.
is my response, sorry, that was confusing.
Any abstain? Motion denied.
I'll make a motion to excuse,
Yeah, if it's just attendance, you just need the majority votes, you
Oh.
don't need the whole 4
Okay.
unanimous.
Okay.
Perfect, so motion carried. Item number 4, regarding reading of the Board of Adjustment statement. Ms. Cruz, could you please read the statement?
Sure. The zoning Board of Adjustment of the City of Socorro is now in session. The board is established under Article 211.008 of the Texas Local Government Code and Chapter 2, Division 5 of the Code. In appropriate cases and subject to appropriate conditions and safeguards, this board is empowered to make special exceptions or grant variances to the terms of the zoning ordinance that are consistent with the general purpose and intent of the ordinance. In accordance with any applicable rules contained in the ordinance, and to hear appeals that allege an error on an order, requirement, decision, or determination made by an administrative official in the enforcement of the code. Your application or appeal will be decided only after you have had the opportunity to present evidence before the board for its consideration. Other parties interested in your case may also be heard at this time. No consultation among the board members have been held in advance regarding your case. This board does not act in an arbitrary manner. You may be sure full consideration will be given to your case, and following this hearing, you will be promptly notified of the board's decision.
Thank you. Item number 5, swearing in all of the persons giving testimony. Ms. Cruz?
Yes, so I had asked for everyone that will be giving testimony today. I'll do English first, and I'll do the Spanish second. To please stand if you may, and raise your right hand. Okay, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth and nothing but the truth? Okay. Can you say your name pretty loud, please?
My name is Jesse Montelongo.
Okay, sir?
Michael Fappo.
What was the last name?
Fappo.
Fappo. And sir in the back?
Mario de Arma.
Okay, thank you. ¿Alguien en español va a hacer el juramento? Thank you, you may sit down. Sorry. ¿Alguien en español que vaya a dar testimonio hoy? No? Okay.
Item number 6, consider and take action on the approval of the meeting minutes of January 24th, 2024. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
I have motion made by Jesus Ruiz to approve and second by Miriam Cruz. All those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Any nays? Any abstain? Motion carried. Item number 7, consider and take action on the variance request from the Municipal Code Section 46-622A to allow a solid wall fence over 2 feet 6 inches above the street curb level with the clear triangle at 257 Wewoka Drive, Socorro, Texas, 79927. Mr. Botella?
Good evening, Madam Chairman and Commissioners. Jose Botello, planner with the City of Socorro. Item number 7 on the agenda is the variance request for 257 Wewoka Drive. And so the subject is to consider and take action on the variance request from the Municipal Code Section 46-622A, subsection A, to allow a solid wall fence over 2 foot 6 inches above the street curb level within the clear sight triangle at 257 Wewoka Drive, Socorro, Texas. And so some information on this property. It is currently zoned R1, which is single-family residential. The lot size is 20,000 square feet. The address, once again, is 257 Wewoka Drive. For the summary, the applicant is requesting a variance to allow solid privacy fence on the side yard. And some background on this case, the applicant's reason for the petition is that the neighbor is sexually harassing his daughter and wife. And so staff, for the staff recommendation, staff recommends approval of the variance request to allow a solid wall fence over 2 foot 6 inches above the street curb level within the clear side triangle, with the condition that the applicant pay the permit fees at 200% of the established fee and pay for the reinspection fees, which is in accordance with the City of Socorro's Municipal Code Section 6-184, reinspection fees, and Section 6-187, homeowner starting work without a permit in a residential zone. The alternative for this case would be to deny the variance request and modify the solid wall to comply with Section 46-622, subsection A of the City of Socorro's municipal codes.
Question? Oh, no, you're still not done, sorry.
And so in the next slide, you'll see the application, followed by the initial application that was submitted to our department for this fence. And then you'll see the zoning map with the yellow, the property is within the red rectangle. The yellow denotes the R1 single-family residential zoning district. And followed by an aerial image of the property. And so these are some of the pictures taken from within the property. You can see the fence, the solid wall fence, pretty clear. And so this is a document that we provide to constituents for referring to the wall heights and the clear sight triangle. And so this is a definition that is provided in the municipal codes. It states that the reason for this requirement is so that constituents can see the applicants or their neighbors pull out of the driveway. So it's more for safety reasons that the city requests, the wall height be at a maximum 2 feet 6 inches, or if it's going to be higher than that, and it has to have, you're supposed to be able to see inside the property. And so once again, the summary of the request is a variance request from the Municipal Code Section 46-622, subsection A, to allow a solid wall fence over 2 feet 6 inches above the street curb level within the clear sight triangle at 257 Wewoka Drive, Socorro, Texas. And at this time, staff can answer any questions.
So you recommend to approve it with the conditions that you said, right? That's the staff's recommendation?
Correct.
Okay. that's just based on the home and the application and whatnot?
Also the fact that the front part is you can see through it, right? It's not fully enclosed, which is partially compliant, but the side yard is what is non-compliant.
I have a question. Anyone else have one before I go? So to be clear, the whole wall that they want is already built.
Correct.
And it's hard to tell from the pictures, but on the bottom picture where the car is, the first pole, and again, it's pictures, so it's hard to tell, but it looks like it's sitting on top and not necessarily going through. Do we know who went to go look at the property?
Yes, I believe it was Mr. Valderrama that
Okay.
took the photos. of the property.
And I guess, did he confirm that those posts were going through to the ground? Sort of like the diagram shows us from the initial application?
I'm not too sure.
But
to
I
be honest.
believe that, I don't know if this answers the question, but I believe it does. Judith clarified that they did come for the permits, and then when they went out for the first inspection, it passed. It wasn't until they came back for the other inspection and saw that they had not completely fulfilled the requirements of the ordinance. So it did pass that initial inspection for the footing. And to clarify, they did have the permits prior to the work being done.
Okay,
So usually the first inspection is when they're building a wall like that, is usually the foundation. So the foundation requires you to have had, let's cement, or the structure based in correctly, 2 feet or 4 feet. So it is, so if the inspection passed, it is
It's good to go.
properly done. Like I said, it's just a picture, but you can actually see cement down there,
well, I see the cement,
yes.
but that pole doesn't look like it's going through.
But
looks
if
like it's sitting on top.
Yeah, if the first inspection passed, that means that it is properly done.
Well, that's what I'm asking, right? And so you said that the permits were pulled. So maybe they were requested and they didn't have them yet, and then they still built, or?
No, they,
Because then why would we charge them the
Yeah, so that-
starting with,
that would,
without a permit?
that would be something to remove from the recommendation. I'm not sure how that was overlooked.
Do we have a copy of the permit?
We just have the permit on file that is presented on the report.
Okay. Obviously, very serious concern, not making light of that. And so the side wall, according to the code, should be up to 2 feet, 6 inches. And so how tall is this actual wall? Because I didn't see that.
Yeah.
If you could,
I'd like to say thank you for letting us come and speak to you, BOA council members and staff. I appreciate it, and my wife is here also as a witness. Mr. Esteban and his assistant IT, they got together and got some pictures of the property. But the privacy wall is on our side of the property line. It's not sitting on, it looks like it's sitting on top of the fence, no. And when you see the pictures, you'll see exactly, and yes, they are 4 feet. They did meet the requirements. It's under 7 feet tall, because when you see the pictures, I have a picture there, besides the sexual harassment pictures of the actual wall being built. And it's not on his wall, because we didn't want any problems, because he's being sexually harassed. So we put it on our side of the fence, our property. It's in our property. In the fence, it looks like it's on his fence. No, it's not, because we put it on our side so we wouldn't have problems. And see right there, man, right there. See, he even lowered it. That's a contractor, and he's filming, and he followed everything to the bone. Every spec is within tolerance. And he went down. You see how far down he went? Because the chain link fence that's right there, and it's not they're panels. They're little wafer panels, and they go inside of some poles. And that's why, and then they're welded. And it's not solid. They're just like they're very thin. They're like wafer board, pero son como, they look like metal, like heavy metal, but they're not. But they're welded so they won't fly off or break or something and cause an accident. But I had no choice. I have a wife and daughter. I'm the man of the house. I have to protect them. I went with Chief Burton. He knew about this. He told me to put a bunch of trees, like spruces. That takes forever. That didn't work. But a lot of them died. So he
Mr.
knew about.
Montelongo, could you answer the question about how tall it is, please?
Oh, yes. It's under 7 feet. It's within tolerance. And Mr. Campbell, he has his own company, and he made sure he followed the specs too. He's very good professional, and he's licensed.
So it's under 7 feet. Do you know exactly how tall it is, though?
It's he said it's okay, because it's 4, 5, 6. It's under 7. It's like 6. Because I know we measured everything. We even put a chalk line, a line on both sides. Well, his people did, and it's within tolerance. Yes, ma'am. It is within tolerance. And when he went out there to go and see the poles and everything, he saw one panel. And he said, you know what, this looks pretty good. Go ahead and proceed with it, and call me when you're done, because if I have to come out again, I'll charge you again. So just call me one time. So we called him one time, and he came out, and he just said, no, you need to move if you go to my house, well, you asking me that one question, how tall? I don't know. I don't have the measurement with me, but I know I'm within tolerance all the way around, because we didn't want to. I deal with this, the HLC also, so we didn't want to. I didn't want to be in non-compliance, but I have to protect my family. I only have 2 girls, and I have to protect them. That's the only reason I did it. I went to the police. I went to code enforcement, and I had no choice but to protect them. And really, was that all the pictures? Did you see the front of the fence and anything? So they can see, because EMS, the police, everybody can see everything. My whole front yard, you can see 200 feet of it. You see, that's it right there. You can see my whole house. EMS, police, dog catchers. I even have customs sometimes, or law enforcement go to my house because they need to cut through my yard to go catch other guys, because I'm the crime watch coordinator for District 4. So I get a lot of visits by law enforcement, and I let them come in anytime they want to go to my backyard so they can check the other properties, or when there's people in the back alley without permission trespassing. And so, I'm just trying to do my best and be compliant, but I have to protect my family. It was getting out of hand, and I didn't want any altercations. So that's why I called the police several times, and I talked to Chief Burton, Chief Burton said, just wave at him. And when you see the other pictures, you'll see why I did what I did. I hope you understand, because my wife and daughter were they just couldn't stand it anymore. My daughter got to the point.
Sergeant, can you explain to them why you're building this wall? I don't think you explained why. I know it's a sexual harassment, but can you just explain to them why you're explaining all this, just so they can have a better grasp?
Because I've been with you guys. I work for you guys, for Socorro. I was in civil service for 7 years. I know a lot of you. You all know me. I also help the police department and work with the police department. and I'm the crime watch coordinator for District 7. I've worked with Ms. Cruz before at Civil Service Commission for, I think, 7 years. When I got back from Iraq, I didn't know who to help, so I've been helping Socorro with with flagpoles, police stations, all kinds of different things. The flagpole outside, this is my home. I'm very proud of it, Socorro, Texas. I've been here for 33 years, and I didn't know who to help when I came back in 2012, and I looked around, and I said, you know what? They need my help. I just never noticed it because I was never here. But this time, I need your all's help. Sir.
Thank you, Mr. Montalongo. Mr. Botello, I have a question. The wall on the side of homes, I'm sorry, this is for Mr. Botello. That's your last name, right? On the side of, I thought it was higher than 2 feet and 6 inches.
So that's what the code states, 2 feet 6 inches. And if you're gonna build higher, it states that you're allowed to build up to 6 feet as long as you have rails or as long as the property is visible from the side.
Visible, okay, so, okay, and that's what I was getting at, so even though permit was pulled, the permit wouldn't have allowed for a solid wall. It would have allowed for maybe up to 6 feet, but you had to see through it.
Correct.
Okay, and so even though that permit was pulled, and I think y'all have confirmed that, I guess, you know, I can understand the urgency, but typically we would have wanted it to not be solid, come get a variance, and if the variance was approved, then that's, so maybe, I think that's the reason maybe for the 200% charge. Is that right?
Yes, so that's correct, right? But I think the only thing that Sergeant Montalongo was trying to say is that he's just trying to protect his family from the neighbor that's sexually accusing your family and your daughter, right?
Harassing.
Sexual harassment.
There's a picture of him out there that you haven't seen yet. In action, there's some videos, they're like 20 seconds, 10 seconds. Him actually looking for her. She couldn't even have her mom or sister come over, or they couldn't put the swimming pool, because he's always looking over the fence and looking for them and talking, making sexual gestures to her and to my daughter. And I had no choice. Chief Burton couldn't do nothing about it. I could, and then when you see another picture of him peeking over the side of the house, he would go to the side and he'd be looking looking for her when I'm not outside. So I had to do something, you know.
Mr. Montalongo, can you speak into the mic, because
I'm sorry.
would you mind if we played those videos? You
Yeah,
know,
please.
all of this stays up on YouTube, so if you don't feel comfortable, I would rather,
Go ahead.
okay. Can we?
I have nothing to hide, man.
I wouldn't mind.
I just want justice.
Yeah.
He'd stand on the bucket and look over the fence, and then he got mad when got hired contractors to come put a privacy fence. And he was told by the police not to be trespassing over, because he got caught trespassing twice in my property. And she told him to leave me alone, we just want to be left alone. And he will not leave us alone, and it's retaliation. I don't know what it is. He's just, he never.
Is that a
used-
measuring tape, it looks like?
Yes, and he's putting it over he's measuring all my, I guess he's an inspector also, I don't know.
So, aside from the videos, it seems like this is a neighbor-on-neighbor issue, right? And that's why the wall was bring up, but
Oh,
you mentioned Chief Burden, and maybe you can answer this question. Would there be anything on file regarding the alleged harassment that Socorro PD would have
oh yeah.
for
On the CAD
reference?
report, yes, sir.
And so that's kind of what I was asking Mr. Botello earlier, is your recommendation based on the allegations or simply based on the code and whatnot? Because usually, like, when we talk about different things, you know, like, we have, of course, other circumstances that play into it, but ultimately you all gave your recommendation based on what you see and when you go out there and things like that, which is why I was asking if that's what it was based on, or are we taking these extra factors into consideration in your recommendation?
Yes, we do take these factors into consideration in the fact that the front portion is exposed. So, I mean, it's a serious matter. The application does state that there's reports filed with the City of Socorro Police Department. And so we do, you know, take all these variables into consideration.
Any next question?
I would like to make a motion to approve as the staff recommends.
I would like to second that motion.
I'd like to approve it, leave it. Yeah, because I understand what he's going through, so.
Perfect. I have a motion made by Jesus Ruiz to approve and second by David Oropesa. All those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Any abstains? Motion carried.
Every time they ask
Item
you-
number 8, consider and take action on the variance request from the Municipal Code Section 46-622, subsection 8, to allow a solid wall fence over 2 feet 6 inches above the street curb level within the clear side triangle at 400 Valle Los Coronados Drive, Socorro, Texas 79927. Mr. Botello?
Good evening, Madam Chairman and Commissioners. Jose Botello, planner with the City of Socorro. Item number 8 on the agenda is the variance request for 400 Valle Los Coronados Drive. And so the subject on this case is to consider and take action on the variance request from the Municipal Code, Section 46-622, subsection A, to allow a solid wall fence over 2 feet 6 inches above the street curb level within the clear sight triangle at 400 Valle Los Coronados Drive here in Socorro, Texas. Some general information on this case. The property is zoned R1, single-family residential. The size of the property is a little bit over half an acre, 0.507 acres. The address, once again, is 400 Valle Los Coronados Drive. And the summary is the applicant is requesting a variance to allow a solid privacy fence on the front and side yard. Some background on this case, the applicant's reason for the variance request is that his dogs would jump over the 3-foot fence that was previously there. And the statement of the issue is that the applicant only requested the initial footing inspection on September 15, 2020. No final inspection was requested for the solid wall and was subsequently issued a notice of violation for the solid wall. And so, with that said, staff recommendation is denial of the variance request to allow a solid wall fence over 2 feet 6 inches above the street curb level within the clear sight triangle due to non-compliance with Section 46-622, subsection A of the City of Socorro's municipal codes. The alternative to this decision would be to approve the variance request with the condition that the owner pay the permit fees at 200% of the established fee and pay for the re-inspection fees, which would be in accordance with the City of Socorro's municipal code, section 6-184 and section 6-187. And so on the next screen, you'll see the application. They do list that the reason for requesting this variance is to contain the owner's dogs within the property. And so the next slide shows the zoning map. The yellow color denotes the R1 single-family residential zoning district. And the property is situated at the corner of Hueletka Drive and Valle Los Coronados Drive. This is the aerial image in the next slide. And then some pictures of the property taken from Valle Los Coronados, which is the top picture. The bottom picture was taken from Hueletka Drive. So it's solid all throughout. And once again, the slide explaining the wall heights and the requirements. And so in this case, being that it's a corner lot, right? It's a little bit more dangerous because if you're turning from into Valle Los Coronados from Hueleca Drive, there'd be no chance to see the applicant pull out of the driveway. It's a bit of a hazard. And that's the reason for the denial. And once again, the summary of the request is for approval of a variance request from the Municipal Code Section 46-622, subsection A, to allow a solid wall fence over 2 feet 6 inches above the street curb level within the clear sight triangle at 400 Valle Los Coronados Drive. And at this time, staff can answer any questions.
My first question is, can we get a copy of the thing that you say you guys pass out? Because I keep seeing it up there, but I don't see it in our backup.
Yes, my apologies. It was a
Fence. Are there copies of that available?
yes.
Questions? I have a question. Maybe this might be for the property owner. Obviously, the corner is the biggest issue. So the wall being there in the corner, it wouldn't necessarily be an issue, I guess, for the rest of the property, if we're thinking about safety. But, Mr. Lerma, I don't know, I mean, folks are different. I'm curious if you could step up to the mic. Perdón, pues dígame. Bueno, déjame le pregunto. Mi pregunta es, y lo que estaba diciendo el señor Botello, la duda aquí es que, o la preocupación es de la seguridad, porque su casa está en una esquina y no se puede ver cuando la gente está dando vuelta o está saliendo a la calle, no se alcanza a ver porque está bloqueado por el fence, ¿verdad? Esa es una preocupación un poco diferente de otros casos. Entiendo que a lo mejor una casa con una esquina, ¿verdad? Que toda la casa esté igual menos una esquina, no sería lo ideal, pero ¿es algo que posiblemente ha considerado?
Sí, de hecho pusimos los barandales donde se viera para adentro, todo, pero como llega el bus de la escuela y a la esquina, se ponían los niños, ahí tengo 3 perros, se ponían los niños y un niño de ellos a un día metió la mano y fue la señora y nos dijo, oigan, ¿saben qué? Mi hijo tiene autismo, algo, no sé, no entiende, ¿verdad? El peligro que pueda Entonces estuvo bien, hablamos y de hecho fue un policía, porque ella llevó un policía y nos dijo lo que pueden hacer. Antes ya teníamos la esta de tela, entonces quitamos la de tela y le hicimos de barda y le dejamos los 3 pies, no tenía barandal nomás. Pero los perros, cuando el momento que llegaba el bus, se emocionaban y se brincaban. Entonces le pusimos esos barandales que se miraban y los tuvimos que quitar por lo mismo, porque llega el bus y todos los niños pues ahí se juntan en la pura esquina, ahí si ven llega el bus y por eso los dejamos así. La otra razón, antes de hacer la barda, me dijo, cuando sacábamos el permiso, me dijo el señor, dijo, te puedes recorrer poquito más para adentro, y fue lo que hicimos al momento de hacer la barda. Estamos recorridos, no agarramos todo lo que viene siendo nuestro terreno, nos recorrimos para adentro como 2 pies, yo creo. Pero la razón de que se puso así es por los niños, llegan los niños de la escuela. No sabíamos nosotros que el frente de nosotros era el de Valle Los Coronados, y por eso agarramos a Hueleta. Pero la razón es por ahí llegan el bus y los niños pues ven los perros y claro, no son bravos ni muerden ni nada, pero uno no sabe si...
¿Y los 3 perros todavía los tiene?
Sí.
Y no sé qué son, no me puedo imaginar qué es un Blue Heeler, más o menos qué tamaño estamos hablando.
Son perros Blue Heelers.
Okay.
Pues el perro es el más grandecito, yo creo que está como por ahí.
Okay.
Y las otras pues están chaparritas, son de los chaparritos. Pero el único que el que se brincaba era el perro.
Ajá.
Y cuando teníamos el fence de tela, hacía hoyos y se salía por abajo.
Ándale, okay.
They're very active dogs.
I got a question to ask. Can a bus, is there a stop sign there? If there's a stop sign, can you see the cars coming and all that? Is it visible? Is it stopping the sight of the other cars or anything? Can you really see everything?
It's visible up to a certain point, and I mean, once you make the turn, you're going, 10, 13 miles per hour, so it is a bit of a concern, because you won't, you wouldn't be able to see the vehicle back out until it's actually in the right of way.
And that's for the bus stop, the school bus stops, right?
To be honest, I don't know exactly where the school bus stops, but I did see quite a few dogs when I took the pictures. Not his, but in the vicinity. And I understand now, why he built it that way. But, for the safety of the constituents that are driving in the area, I mean, it is a bit of a concern.
So it's in danger of people having an accident there because of the fence?
I mean, I can foresee something
Going
occurring.
on that. Yeah.
And I wonder if potentially the shrinking, if you will, of the wall. So I guess, have we confirmed that? Is it more in than his actual property line?
I wouldn't be able to tell. There was no stakes or any items outlining the boundary of the property.
Yeah.
So it's kind of difficult to see,
But-
when you're there,
Mhm.
because it's imaginary lines, right?
Right. I do see though, in the picture, that there's about, and this is me guesstimating, like,
Ahí en esa esquina donde empieza la curva, ahí hay stops.
Sí,
¿Sí?
sí. Ahí está el stop que sale de las 400, pero el stop está muy adelante, sí se mira. Donde tú haces el stop, donde está la línea frente del stop, sí se alcanza a ver bien para los que vienen de Norwood por Boleta.
Couldn't we just put it like on Google Maps and see what it looks like or something, right? Like,
yeah, because it's kind of hard to.
El Alto aquí está, ¿no?
Sí, el alto ahí está y están otros dos aquí por lo del el base se partía aquí y llega por los niños ahí. Y ahí es donde adelante, atrásito está la.
Because there just needs to be some like right of way between the street and then the fence. Like I'm guessing like 6 feet from the last picture in the backup, and then the street. So like there's some additional.
so can you put the photos back on so maybe he can tell us where the stop signs are? Because like there's the intersection of Hueletka and Valle de los Coronados. Like, is there a stop sign there?
You can't see it on the pictures, but there is a stop sign
Like right, like at that intersection
on
or whatever.
Valle. So if you're, see, ¿verdad? If you're coming down Valle, Los
De Valle de
Coronados,
los Coronados a Boleta, viene de Valle de los Coronados a Boleta y está el alto. Entonces se mira bien para los de Boleta. Porque mi salida es por la Valle de los Coronados y yo salgo así. Por eso le digo, cuando sales para el alto y alcanzo a mirar bien la calle de Boleta.
Su salida de su casa está. Where's the
Can we
mouse?
zoom
Is
in?
it? ¿Es allí? Yeah. Can we zoom in just a little?
Jesus.
Sí, la de Valle de los Coronados.
Sí, pero en referencia a la casa, o sea, está más, está hacia donde está su vecino, ¿verdad? Okay. Sí, porque ahí se ve donde está bien marcado.
Sí, esa es la salida. Esa la usamos porque salíamos igual, salíamos por acá, pero también en las mañanas, como cuando se va uno a trabajar, se salían los perros. Y como creo a las 7 está ya hasta el bus ahí, y los niños pues están
¿Y los niños están o el bus para en Valle de los Coronados o en
En Hueleta.
Huelete? Okay.
Ujú. Sí, aquí se juntan los niños y aquí llega por ellos.
Y ese cerco que hiciste, los chavalitos no se pueden meter la mano allí ni
No,
nada.
no, ya no. No sé, pues de hecho estaba como tanto así separada de la barda del y le tuve que poner unos ladrillos.
Y no se sale.
Sí, o sea, no para que no metieran las manos ya. Le tuve que meter unos como como un ladrillo, por eso así.
Ah, sí lo veo.
Sí, sí.
Sí, se lo puse ahí porque de todos modos metían la mano, aunque lo dejé separado del barandal y la barra, y metían la mano. Pues que llegan y como está la barra, se recargan a esperar al vas ahí, y pues no se agarran o algo de lo.
I mean, it seems to me like it's also a safety issue, and I understand that he didn't do the things initially, but if it's a stop sign, that's not a stop sign, a bus stops, that's not really going to go away. And if he has animals and if he's going out of his way in a sense to make sure that the kids are not getting bit or something like that, I can also see that and give him credit
Yeah.
for that as well. Similar to the previous case where it's circumstances that he's trying to mitigate, he's also trying to mitigate making sure that kids are not getting injured, the dogs are not biting anybody.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Sí, está los está también, por eso, yo digo por eso los pusieron también, ¿verdad? Por los niños, porque no puede venir de la boleta y pasar seguido, porque ahí mismo se juntan los niños y tienen que hacer el alto antes de pasar donde se juntan los niños y tienen que hacer el alto saliendo del Valle de los Coronados.
¿Puede hablar en el micrófono? Es que después no se escucha en
sí.
línea. Que usted sepa, ¿no ha habido accidentes ahí por su casa?
No. No, nunca ha habido accidentes. Hace mucho cuando recién un carro se venía del lado pues venía por la abueleta y se chocó en mi barda, pero venía al revés, del otro lado. Pero ya está también el bordo y pusieron un bordo más para acá. Pero ya hace como yo pienso como unos 4 años después de eso. Pero no ha habido ni un accidente.
So it's not affecting traffic right now. The way it is affecting traffic. They can see, but they make the stop in the corner. Is there any danger there that they can't see because another car's coming? Or?
Well, when you're approaching the intersection, you won't see a vehicle until you're making the turn. And so, I mean, it's difficult because there's that factor, but also, I understand that he's trying to protect the children. I wasn't aware that there was a bus stop there, right? So it is kind of, it's
Well, he's
difficult.
doing his best to keep the children safe.
yeah, think of the children.
Yeah. I agree to leave it.
Of course.
I mean, I would like to make a motion to go ahead and accept the staff's recommendation, the alternative one. The alternative recommendation, that would be my motion, to approve it with the alternative recommendation by staff.
I would like to second that.
I have a motion made by Jesus Ruiz to approve the alternative motion, and second by David Oropesa. All those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Any abstain? Motion carried. Item number 9, considering...
Gracias, señor Lerma.
Se aprobó, para que sepa.
Item number 9, consider and take action on the variance request from the Municipal Code Section 46-263, subsection B, to allow a 1,200 square feet structure that exceeds 50% of the footage of the 1,114 square feet principal structure at 851 Walcott Road, Socorro, Texas, 79927. Mr. Botello?
Good evening, Madam Chairman and Commissioners. Jose Botello, planner with the City of Socorro. Item number 9 on the agenda is the variance request for 851 Walcott Drive. And as for the subject for this case is the variance request from the Municipal Code Section 46-263, subsection B, to allow a 1,200 square foot structure that exceeds 50% of the square footage of the 1,114 square foot principal structure at 851 Walcott Road. And so some information, general information on this case. The property is owned R2, medium density residential. The size of the property is 14,475 square feet. And so the summary is, the applicant is requesting a variance to allow an accessory structure over 50% of the square footage of the principal structure. And on the application, the applicant listed that the reasons for the variance request is to store and utilize his wife's special needs equipment. And so, with that, taking into consideration those facts, staff recommends approval of the variance request to allow a 1,200 square foot structure that exceeds the 50% of the square footage of the 1,114 square foot principal structure, with a condition that the structure be utilized for residential use only. And as an alternative, it would be to deny the variance request. And so the next slide will show the application, followed by the applicant's letter stating the reasons a little bit more in depth for why they're requesting the variance. And this is the site plan that was provided. You can see the principal structure is on the left. There's a rock wall in the middle of the property, and the location where the applicant is proposing to, build the storage accessory structure. I'm sorry. And this is a render of the structure, how it would look, provided to us by the applicant. And so this is a zoning map. You can see that the area in red is the property, the R2 zoning designation. It's important to highlight that because it does state in the codes that accessory structures are allowed within the zoning district. The aerial image of the property. You can't see the house in this aerial image. It's a little bit before, prior to the house being built, but there is a house at the moment. And you can see the house on the top picture. This view was taken from Walcott Drive, and the picture on the bottom is the empty lot where the applicant is proposing to build the accessory structure. And so once again, the summary of the request is a variance request from the Municipal Code Section 46-263 subsection B to allow a 1,200 square foot structure that exceeds 50% of the square footage of the 1,114 square foot principal structure at 851 Walcott Road here in Socorro, Texas. And at this time, staff can answer any questions.
I have a question. I think the reason for limiting it to residential uses so that they don't use it as commercial use, right? How would we limit them from, not converting it into, somewhere renting out, if you will? They'd rent out the structure as a home type of thing.
It's difficult, to impose that because, it's at their will, it's their property, right? They're allowed to do what they can as long as they comply with our codes. And so part of the condition for the approval that staff recommended was to utilize the accessory structure for residential use only. And so if they're gonna, try to establish any sort of business or, right, like apartments, they're residential, but at the same time, it's an investment. It's just to.
But the code doesn't allow for there to be two home structures, right?
Well, actually, yeah, the R2 zoning designation does allow multiple family units, so they would be within their right.
So in a sense, by keeping it as residential, we're not really right, you're not gonna stop it either way. Like, if they want to in the future, they definitely can, right?
But this is a metal structure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
I'd like to hear from the gentleman that's raising his hand, see, that's his property, to see what he's trying to do there. What kind of building he wants to do.
It's like storage and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Thank you, board members, for hearing me. As to the question, I'll sign an affidavit right now that it will be residential, period. All it's for is gonna be storing vehicles. There'll be a small hobby area for me, for my shop, and the rest of the area is gonna be utilized for my wife. I know you don't want to hear the whole story, but she requires extensive physical therapy to help her get better, which is happening. But as to, there's not going to be plumbing, there's not going to be a bathroom in there, anything like that. Eventually, I will put electric in, but that would be the only thing in there, and it's a metal building. It's rated to 140 miles per hour. I tried to match it color-wise to the house to make the property look decent, but I don't know how I can assure you that it'll never be commercial. I mean, like I said, I'll sign an affidavit, however you want with the city, but again, it would never be able to be turned into a home, because it's a metal building. It's not, it wouldn't be structurally approved for a home.
Yeah, no, and it turns out you could, I guess, but I was just wondering, and I did read the letter. I did have a question though about the tractor. Are we talking like a?
Oh, it's called a Scud, a subcompact, but it's got a lift on it, a bucket, and the implements to tow behind it to like level ground, etc.
Oh, okay.
It's not a commercial tractor at all.
Right, yeah, no, and I was just trying to wrap my head around, because I was like, well, I don't think there's enough property for a,
Well,
field
I-
or something, but I
own
didn't
that
know.
one. We just moved down, I just retired, and we moved back to El Paso to get closer to family. But I owned that in Ohio. I had 5 acres, woods, the whole thing. So it's just my property.
Right, yeah. No, I was just curious.
Okay.
It was more curiosity than anything, honestly. But you included it in what you were hoping to put in the garage, the 4 vehicles, the 2 UTVs, obviously the woodworking, the hobby shop, understand that. And then, of course, all of the physical therapy stuff. I guess I do have a question, because there is that rock wall. There should be enough space from the end of that rock wall to, I guess, the sidewalk, if you will, for any sort of back and forth between, or do you?
The rock wall goes about 3/4 of the property, and then it drops down to like 18 inches, 2 feet. And then it stops where that pole is in the description. There's a pole.
The utility pole?
That wall stops there, so I have plenty of room to get around the front of the building. In long term, we intend to take that middle section of that rock down, the majority of it out.
So that it can be an easier
And
access.
I don't know if you knew, the contractor who built the home had intentions and it was permitted to build another home on the other side. And he said something about that it was rezoned so that it can only be considered one property. It's not 2 properties. So that's why we got the good deal we did on it. But again, that rock wall is, and I can't tell you when it's gonna happen, but I mean, it's gonna be a big job, but we intend to take the majority of that out.
Okay, so that there's an easier access between both buildings.
Well, we're gonna knock the section out so that my wife can, we'll put a sidewalk in, so my wife can get to that building real easy,
Right.
instead of having to go out to the front of the house and then drive back up.
Right.
We'll put it to the side of the building where she can get in easily.
Right, okay, and that's making more sense, because I did think that separation just made it seem not very conducive for, the situation, but, cool. Any other questions?
Well, that will make the neighborhood even a lot cleaner because there's not gonna be weeds growing out of that.
There you go.
I approve
Yeah.
for that too.
I second that.
Thank you.
I have a motion made by Alberto Lagunas to approve, second by David Oropesa. All those in favor of the motion?
Can we just confirm that we're approving with the staff's recommendation? Was that your motion, or is it just? to
Yes,
approve?
just to approve it, that he can build that,
But is it with staff's recommendation?
which one's that one?
I just wanna
I would
confirm.
say I make a motion to approve the staff's recommendation to approve.
Yes, I, make a motion to approve
Staff
the building,
recommendation.
yeah,
With
To
staff's
approve.
recommendation?
yes.
To approve.
I have a motion made by Alberto Lagunas to approve with staff recommendation, second by David Oropesa. All those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Any nays? Any abstain? Motion carried.
Thank you.
Item number 10, consider and take action on the adjournment of this meeting. Do I have a motion?
Aye.
Do I have a second?
I second that.
I have a motion made by Albert Lagunas to approve and second by David Oropesa. All those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Any nays?
Nay. No, I'm just kidding.
Any abstain?
Either way, we're majority.
Motion carried.
Can't keep me here.
The meeting is adjourned at 6:56. Thank you very much.
Thank you.